This is the Road Back YouTube channel, and just to let you know, I am not a doctor or a medical professional. However, these things have happened to me, or I've experienced them through other ways of people telling me certain things that I have learned over the course of 3.5 years from digestive issues and otherwise. On this episode of The Road Back, I'm going to be discussing prescriptions and how they're written. And a lot of times today, your doctor might electronically prescribe something. This way is very ineffective and can be extremely dangerous because you don't know what exactly you're getting. You might not even remember the milligram, and you might not know why you're even getting the drug. This has happened to me before and caused severe damage. The issue is a lot of doctors prescribe something based on testing or diagnosis, and a lot of times the diagnosis is what we call armchair diagnosis. Essentially, they're telling you, well, I think you have GERD, or I think you have this. You have these symptoms, but they're not actually doing the tests to determine that symptom, and they wind up giving you drugs that are lethal, can kill organs, and do severe damage to your body. This goes for any drug, not just a GI drug that I'm going to be talking about in many of these videos. The point is, the pharmacist at your local Giant, Walgreens, Safeway, or CVS, or wherever you go, they're not looking at a test result. They're just going based on what the doctor has actually prescribed, saying this is the reason. And most times these PPI drugs, actually, there's many insurance companies that make the doctor, fill out a authorization form. Has this person gone through an endoscopy? Has this person tried over-the-counter H2 blockers, which are less acid reduction than the PPI, which is a 99% acid reduction medication? And so essentially, only whether it's up to your insurance company, or sometimes it's the drug manufacturers that make them go through an authorization form. And the way the doctor gets around it, which is sick and twisted, is they use drugs that the insurance company does not have an authorization form for. So therefore, not only are you getting screwed two ways, but you need to make sure that whatever medication that you're supposedly taking for a certain condition, you should look up the testing that is done before you take that drug. You also, if you actually get the prescription in your hand, the doctor usually is more against, especially these newer doctors, they're against giving out a regular written prescription, because if they are getting paid by a pharmaceutical company, it's easier for them to get away with the electronic prescription. It's sight unseen. They think, oh, it's easier, for my patients to get the things, but they can get messed up in the system. They could type it quickly wrong. Yeah, you can write something wrong, but the person has it in their hand, and they could tell, well, I thought it was supposed to be on 15 milligrams of something, or 10 or 5. And, a 5 could turn into 500. Or, these things, they're easily done on an electronic prescription. And that is why you see a lot of younger doctors doing this. Either they're getting paid, or they think it's a more effective way to use it, the prescription system, electronically. And it is fine to use it electronically, but you might want to have them print out a copy, because sometimes you'll notice, like I did, but after the fact, after something already did severe damage to my body and an organ was lost and other damages were done, that the diagnosis was something that I didn't even have. And I did have a test, and I should never have been put on the medication to begin with. So therefore, it's better to get a handwritten prescription, know why you're taking it, and even if you know why you're taking it, make sure that there are not specific tests that the NIH or that the doctor's office has on their webpage. But I would honestly go to, if you're diagnosed with something like even a calcium deficiency. You know, you can overtake calcium pills and start getting kidney stones. Just because your calcium is low, you might need to take an extra calcium supplement once or twice a week. But a prescription version of these things are very powerful and can do very much. They can do damage. And if, for example, it's kind of like if you're going to a doctor, a urologist, and they're doing general blood work on you. Now you're going to say, why would a urologist? Well, they might look at general blood work. They look at urine and blood work many times to determine issues with kidneys. But my point is, for them to be prescribing you a calcium pill, it makes me wonder, are they creating a patient? Are they creating kidney problems? You know, that's all I'm saying here. Some of these GI doctors prescribe drugs to create problems. They create the digestive problems. And a lot of these doctors, I believe, are the ones getting paid. There are doctors out there that are using the medicine as needed correctly when the person has gastritis, or if they have first of all, if they have kidney stones, you need to be drinking vinegar or taking vinegar pills, and you need to figure out what is causing the kidney stones. But what I'm saying is, when you're going to a specialist, they should be trying to help you figure out what the problem is and get it taken care of, not prolong the problem or create the problem. And the issue with the writing up of prescriptions is best seen on a prescription pad, and you can do your research before you get it filled. And without that in hand, you could be getting completely stirred up in your body and wreaking havoc in less than 2 weeks, and your body organs could be failing because of a medication that you don't need. And they can easily do this with an electronic prescription. And I said, there are certain medication classes of drugs out there that require authorization forms. And you should look into this, because if you're on something that requires an authorization form in most cases, but then you realize that, oh, I'm on the other version or generic drug, it doesn't require an authorization. And they're not protecting you, it's regarding money and the insurance company's protection. It has nothing to do with you and your health. It's really protecting them. But that's where the doctors can get around this. If they want to create a patient, they can get around it by sending their electronic prescription, writing a diagnosis, an armchair diagnosis, meaning no testing was done, and they give you the drug that does not have the authorization form. So make sure next time that you are at the doctor and you're getting, I guess, your maintenance medications, possibly a newer medication, do all the research on it and find out, is this the type of drug that you should be doing specific tests for? And if it is, then do not take it, and make sure you get those specific tests done before you ever take the drug, and make sure you know what you have and why you're taking it. Don't be a victim because they get to slip one under the rug and the pharmacist has no idea because they're trusting what the doctor writes. That concludes this episode.